Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Halloween edition of Spice It Up Cooking Club. And today we are going to talk about doing creepy, crackled, deviled eggs. And today's program is brought to you by the Perry County Public Library and me, Miss Jessie Chandler, the Children's Youth Services Librarian. Here should be all the supplies that you're going to need. Eggs, medium to extra large, a dozen or more or less. Depends on what kind of eggs that you want to use. Mayo, your preferred brand. Yellow mustard, your preferred brand. Food coloring of your choice. I would do the liquid food coloring. Zip baggies for the food coloring because what we're going to do is we're going to make bags up of different colored food colored water and put our eggs into them. Now, this is optional. This is for decorations. Red peppers, black or green olives, chives, paprika. We'll need a cooking pot to hold however many eggs that we're going to do, and water to cover the eggs at least an inch over. A stove or a hot plate. Ice water in a bowl to hold our hot eggs once we get through boiling them. A knife or a plastic knife, and that's to cut our eggs in half. A mixer, like a hand mixer, a whisk, or a fork. This is to mix our middles and to squish our egg yolks. A bowl to make the deviled egg mix. A bag for discarded shells. Most of the time, if you're going to use a whole dozen eggs, I just use the container, just because that cuts down on waste. Excuse me about that. A bowl and water to rinse eggshell peels off after we get completely through, and piping bags or Ziploc bags if you wish to pipe your filling into the eggs. Now, this is a 2-day cooking project. And I know you're thinking, but Miss Jessie, we've made deviled eggs. Why is it a 2-day cooking process? Well, that's because of the way we're going to make our eggs look. Step 1, boiling our eggs. This is something that needs to be done with adult supervision if you're using your hot plate or your stove top, because we don't want to get burned. Hot boiling water will burn you very badly. Same way with steam, because we are going to have a lid on our eggs for so many minutes of it. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start by placing eggs in a single layer in a large saucepan. Add enough cold water to cover the eggs by at least an inch. Then bring the water to a boil over high heat. Now, when I'm at home, I usually also add in a tablespoon of salt per dozen eggs. And I usually boil my eggs on a high heat for at least 5 minutes, or you can do a hard boil. Some people do a hard boil, and they'll boil their eggs continuously for 12 minutes or more. But you can boil your eggs for about 5 minutes, remove them from the heat, and then put it on a heat-safe source, like a pot rag, or put it onto another burner on your stove that doesn't have heat, and you add your cooking lid to the top of your eggs, and you let them sit in that boiling water that's cooling down for at least 10 minutes. 10 to 15, it's however you want to do it, just to be on the safe side, because we do want a hard-boiled eggs, not soft-boiled eggs. And we're going to remove the eggs from the ice bath, remove the eggs to an ice bath to cool. And I suggest you can have an adult help you drain the water off of these eggs. I've actually poured cold water in on top of my eggs before and then removed them from there. I would use a slotted spoon, or you can use a regular spoon, and just gently transfer them over to your ice bath to help them cool. And that's just going to make them easier to handle because they will be very warm, they will be very hot. So remember, we want to do all this with adult supervision because we are working with the stovetop and boiling water. This is the part of our cooking that is going to take 24 hours from the time that we start it. And that's because when I found directions for this online, it said do our dye mix. And what we're going to do is when our eggs are cooled, we're going to take our eggs out to dye them. And we're going to prepare our water for your eggs. Now, we're not going to put them into the water, our color water yet. This is just the part where we're preparing the dye. And you may just want to put these into plastic bags so you can put them in the fridge and they don't spill out. If you don't have plastic dye, cups that you want to use. If you've got something that you can put a lid on with it, if you're all going to do one of the same color, you might have a container that has a lid that you'll be able to put everything in. But for every 2 cups of water, use about 15 drops of food dye, food gel, paste. And since it's Halloween, this is things that you can use red to make it look all creepy, or if you want to make a purple, which is blue and red, or if you have black food coloring, that would be really neat. It's any color that you want to use. And you can use this for other things too. You can use this throughout the year for different holidays, or if you just have fun making food color dye for your eggs. Step 3, our crackling process. Now, I want to tell you this takes a minute to learn how to do. So if you're not comfortable doing it one way, there are other ways. Now we're going to crack our eggs and we're going to roll them on our counter to create a spider web crack all over them. And what you do is you lightly start cracking your eggs on the side of your table. And you don't want to make sure that your eggs are dry. So we've got them out of our cold water. We can dry them off. And then we can just crack. And then what you want to do is you lightly want to roll it back and forth on your table. Now, I have done, when I did this before, I had a friend helping me. And she's a really good friend of mine. She was with me for a holiday. And she helped me peel eggs. And I showed her this trick of how you can crack it on the side of the table and you gently roll it on the palm of your hand, roll it across the table, and it'll help crack the eggshell all over so you can peel it. She put too much pressure and smashed her egg. So if you're afraid of smashing your egg, you can take the back of a spoon or a fork, as long as it's like a metal or wood, and hold on to it and gently tap it all over the egg. And just go by however you think the pressure should be until you start seeing cracks all over. It's going to look like our picture shown. That's a brown egg, and you can see that there's crackles all over it. And that's what we want to do. We do not want to peel them. We do not want to peel them. And the directions online, and I read several places, and they said you can do this for up to 3 hours, but they really got the best pattern after they let their egg soak for about 22 hours in the fridge. So, if you want to have this for, let's say, dinner or supper the next day, I suggest boiling and cracking your eggs. Let's say you're going to eat at 6 o'clock. I would do this at 4 o'clock the previous day. Let them sit in the our colored water bath overnight. And then at 4 o'clock the next day, we can get them out and we can peel our eggs. And it's going to look kind of like what we have here with the red, and you can see the crackles on there to where the dye has soaked through, and it's a really fun pattern. Step 4, our yolk mix. After we peel our eggs, what I suggest that we do, I always like to rinse mine in some clear water just to get any debris of eggshell off, and then I just have a paper towel and I lightly, dry them, or you can just put them to the side and they'll dry by themselves. And what you're going to do is you are going to take a knife or a plastic knife and you are going to cut them horizontally. So that's from long end that narrows down to the other end. We want to cut them in half. And that's how we're going to get our yolks out. Don't worry if you tear an egg. Everybody tears an egg, and yolks are never in the same spot on any egg. So what we're going to do is we're going to peel our eggs. We're going to make sure that we have them dyed sufficiently like we like. And then we're going to cut our eggs in half and remove the yolks into a bowl. And then we're going to mash your yolks until they're very fine. You can use a fork. You can use a whisk. If you've got a hand mixer, you can use a hand mixer. And it's just whatever you have on hand. My mom uses a spoon. I like to use the hand mixer because I like to pop mine into the egg bowl once I get it through. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our mixer, our whisk, our fork, our spoon, and we're going to mix our yolks. And we've got mayonnaise and we have yellow mustard. Now, it depends on how many egg yolks you have on the mustard and mayo ratio. So what I do, because this is different from everybody, not everybody wants 12 dozen deviled eggs. So what you can do is, depending on how many eggs that you have, I would start off putting a little bit of mustard and mayo in at a time. And most of the time, I'll do it like a tablespoon at a time. And then you can mix it up, and then you can take a clean spoon, and then you can taste it and see if that's what you like. After you get used to making deviled eggs after so long, you can almost look at it by color to see if you have it right. And the reason why I say to mix it a very little at a time, like a tablespoon, teaspoon at a time, is so that your mix doesn't turn runny, and you'll wind up having more mix than you'll have eggs to be able to fill everything with. And if you want to pipe it, you don't need to have it as runny, or it's not going to set up a nice pretty pattern like you want it to. Step 5, deviling our eggs. And you can put your yolk mixture into a plastic baggie. You can cut the tip to squeeze it out to decorate your eggs and fill up the middle of your eggs in whatever plate or platter that you have them on. And if you've got cake decorating materials, you can actually put your yolk into a frosting bag. And if you use tip 199, which I've got a picture of it, it's like a star tip, and it does the nice little ridges, and you can fill it up into fill your egg mixture and use that tip to put into the middle of your eggs. Now, you don't have to do it that way. You can use a plain old spoon to put your mix into your eggs. I've done that for years. And if you want to bump your deviled eggs into the creepy state, you can add food coloring to make your middles orange, red, blue, green, black. You can look up different recipes online. I saw one where they made it green and they used wasabi and avocado. Step 6. Now, this is the decorating part, and this is very much optional. You remember how we talked about the red peppers and the chives and the olives and paprika at the beginning on the supplies? This is the part where you can have fun decorating your creepy eggs. Now, you can use red pepper, and you can cut out little horns and little tails to make your deviled eggs truly devilish. You can pipe in orange egg filling by adding a little bit of orange food coloring into your egg yolk. Pop it into your egg, add a little chive at the top, and it looks like a pumpkin, which I think is super cute. You can cut olives to make eyes, or even make spiders out of them. You can use that to make your spider legs. And you can even, like we talked about before, you can color the fillings to make your eggs look really creepy. If you want to put like some black food coloring in there, or if you want to do like the avocado with the wasabi in it to make it spicy, there's so many different types of deviled egg fillings that you can do. And I think these are just, these are just fun. They're delicious. This is something that everybody can do together, and you can really make them your own. Thanks for watching, everybody. Tell me how your eggs turn out. And if you want to send me a picture of your deviled eggs, you can email them to me at jchandler@perry, P-E-R-R-Y, lib, L-I-B, .org. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.